The most racist thing I've seen out of this White House. Those are the words of Tim Scott, the lone black Republican in the U.S. Senate, in response to a social media post by President Trump. The post was a video that included former President Barack Obama and former First Lady Michelle Obama depicted as apes. An uproar ensued, including from Senator Scott and other Republicans, after initially calling the response fake outrage, the White House changing its tune. A senior White House official now tells the Hill's cable news partner News Nation, quote, a White House staffer erroneously made the post. It has been taken down, end quote. The Hill's White House columnist, Niall Stannage, joins us to discuss. Hey, Niall, so what do you make of the post, the defense, and now the reversal and blaming of a White House staffer?
So to begin with the reversal, I think this was a situation that had caused such outrage that the White House had very little real option other than to take this post down. The reason for that outrage, I think, is very obvious to anybody. The depiction of black people as apes or monkeys is one of, if not the most notorious and long-running and horrendous racist tropes. So for a video to include such a clip and be disseminated, reposted by the President of the United States, obviously caused enormous outrage, as was reflected in that quote that you read from Senator Scott. So I think it was, I mean, the video speaks for itself, and the decision to take it down, I think, also speaks for itself.
Senator Scott's comments were particularly stark. He said, here's the full quote, praying it was fake because it's the most racist thing I've seen out of this White House. The president should remove it. Couple of things on that. I don't know what he thought could have been fake about it. Obviously, the pictures are fake, but the post wasn't fake. And also, he seemed to be suggesting there that the White House has done other racist things.
Yeah, I mean, it was a somewhat oddly phrased response there. The most racist thing I've seen, suggesting there were perhaps other racist but not so egregiously racist things. And the suggestion of a fake, like you, I was confused by that. I mean, the image itself obviously is a confected image, but perhaps he was opening the door for the kind of rationale or explanation that the White House later gave, the idea that it was put up by a staffer. But like the word fake there was confusing. I mean, it's obviously a video that was shared under the account of the President of the United States, and people can make their own mind up about how credible they consider the explanation that it was really a staffer to be.
You know, obviously this puts Republicans in an uncomfortable spot politically. Here's Representative Mike Lawler. He's a Republican from New York, one of the more vulnerable members of the House of Representatives, thought to be at least, coming up in this midterm election. He says the president's post is wrong and incredibly offensive. Whether intentional or mistake, he should delete it immediately with an apology offered. No apology yet from the White House. But this is not exactly an example of the type of message discipline Republicans have been talking about needing heading into midterm elections.
No, it's certainly not. Anything like this is enormously off-putting to people well beyond the base of liberals or Democratic voters or anything like that. And it gets at a point politically, Drew, that I think you raise very adeptly there. The idea being that some Republicans who have competitive districts or competitive races facing them, which is certainly the case with Mike Lawler, really dislike this stuff, because what it does is alienate independents, make people very reluctant to frankly support Republicans. I mean, it weighs Republicans down if they're having to defend stuff like this. So the White House taking the video down perhaps blunts that political embarrassment to some extent. I don't think it's any coincidence that a congressman like Congressman Lawler fighting this kind of competitive election is one of the first people to come out with those kind of comments.
Yeah, not to mention how much this enrages the Democratic base and could help with turnout efforts in midterm elections that are notoriously low turnout elections. You know, now every once in a while there is something that the president does or says that breaks through the partisan silos and actually impacts public perception of the president. Do you think this, could be an example of that?
I think in the instance where we all first became aware of this video, it did show a lot of evidence for that, for the reasons that I just said. I mean, I think the New York Times phrasing was blatantly racist in terms of the imagery that was displayed. The firestorm around it was growing. Now, does the White House's decision to pull the video, does that quell that firestorm? It may do. I mean, I think that it may damp it down a little bit, but I don't think this is going to be instantly forgotten. Of course, one of the questions with the current president is he instigates or is involved in so many controversies that, of course, we'll likely be talking about something else in 3 or 4 days' time. But does that completely erase this from people's memory? I'm not sure it does, just because it's such a visceral issue for so many people.
In some ways, it's kind of a weird microcosm of the current political state of affairs, where you have this weird video that's talking about election fraud, not even clear if it's AI or where it comes from, and then all of a sudden at the end, this racist image pops up. It just is incredibly confusing. So we'll continue to follow this story, obviously. For now, we'll leave it at that. Niall Stannage, White House columnist here at The Hill. Thank you.
Thanks, Drew.